And now, a thought from man.
Well, it's a brand new year with some brand new shows to watch. So, what's the first thing to look at? You know what? That's a headache for another time. So, instead, I think it's time we look back on some of the great shows of last year. There were so many in 2018 that it's honestly a little tricky to really pick which ones were the best of the best. But I think I got it just right. Though, just a heads up, Agretzko isn't going to make the list. It's a great show, but this is mostly relegated to Western animation. If this was an anime list, I'd definitely put it on, but sadly, I can't. So, let's hop right into it. This is the top 10 best animated shows of 2018. Number 10. The Epic Tales of Captain Underpants. Definitely something that I've wanted since I was a kid, and let me say this, it turned out exactly how I imagined it. I absolutely love the books, and this gives me exactly what I wanted while still being fresh in its own right. It doesn't follow the books exactly, but that's for the best. The most important thing is that it captures the original spirit of the books and accomplishes that greatly. The humor is absolutely hilarious and captures everything great about Captain Underpants. All the fourth wall jokes are right in tune with the books. The cherry on top is the fact that they have Samwise Gamgee as the narrator. You're just not doing anything right unless you have a hobbit narrating your life. I mean, come on, let's be real. George and Harold are both just great and fun like they are in the books, and Captain Underpants himself is such a total doofus. It works on all levels as an adaptation and as its own thing. So no matter what, you're gonna have a lot of fun times with this series. Number 9. Disenchantment. This had a lot of anticipation around it, and mostly I think it lived up to it for the most part. It has that Matt Groening feel that we've all come to recognize with his previous works like The Simpsons and Futurama. All the characters manage to get a genuine laugh and are pretty endearing. Bean and her crew are fun characters, and you're wrapped up in the problems they have to face. The show even works in a decent amount of drama, especially around the end, which is something you should expect when it comes to Matt Groening. I mean, this is the guy who had us crying over a freaking dog for a good while. Still not over that, but I digress. It does have a slight problem of taking a little too long to get to the major storyline, but those first few episodes before, you're just having fun getting to know the world and the characters that inhabit it. So it's definitely a worthy addition to Matt Groening's rap sheet. Number 8. The Dragon Prince. Okay, I really love this show. It just wraps you up in its lore and story as well as its characters. You can't help but want to see more of this world and its characters as well as find out what's going to happen next in the story. Caleb, Ezrin, and Rayla have such a funny dynamic among them. You have fun when they have fun. You feel sad when they feel sad. You just connect with all the characters and everything going on with them. It's to be expected when you got some of the great minds of Avatar: The Last Airbender working in it. The show did have some problems with its animation, with it moving very choppily though, but you honestly can move past it with how engaging the characters are. Besides, when they need to do an action scene, they do it pretty good. I do wish the season finale had a bit more bang for its buck, but I still had a great time watching it and can't wait to see more of it. Number 7. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. This show I found myself enjoying very much because of the drama throughout. Adora and Catra have such a strong and even tragic rivalry. When you find out their backstory and see them in their friendship, you genuinely can't help but feel a little saddened by it. The story is overall the major highlight of this series. You constantly want to know what's going to happen next, and when they show it, you're left feeling pretty satisfied. The side characters are all enjoyable and work as a good means of support to the main characters. To me, the show is above The Dragon Prince mainly because its finale was stronger and also the animation is done a bit better. Both shows are still great, but She-Ra didn't have as many missteps save for the prom episode, but that ending saved it, so that's a bit forgivable. It's just a good series that put a new spin on the old 80s She-Ra series and works for just about everyone. Number 6. Ballmasters 9009. I'll be real, this show was not on my radar when I first heard about it. When I saw the ads for it, I thought, oh great, Adult Swim's putting out another filler series just like the last piece of crap that came out earlier in the year. But after watching it, I gotta say, bravo to you, Adult Swim. This show is downright insane and plain stupid, but it makes it work and fits right at home with the block. A big reason for that is the fact that the animation is on crack with how good it can look. This is honestly the best looking Adult Swim original show in recent years. The general craziness of the characters and the world is insanity incarnate. You just can't stop watching it. Not really much else to be said about it other than grab your balls and check it out. Number 5. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now to me, this is the best the Turtles have looked, especially when you compare them to that. This show is absolutely fun with all the action sequences and just as well how funny the Turtles can be, just playing off of each other and April.
Alright you, where's our turtle tank?
Hi, Donnie. You have 9 seconds to tell me why you just broke my door.
Someone stole Donnie's turtle tank.
Oh, I see. So as your best friend, you naturally suspect me?
She gets it.
Oh, don't give me that. You're the only one who could have taken it.
3, 2, 1.
The animation feels like something the creators just wanted to have as much fun with as they could. The urban look of New York they use in this iteration fits like a glove, and the idea of the Turtles, honestly, I'm surprised it took this long for an adaptation to do this. This version of April has to be my favorite out of all. Now you might think I might have some bias due to certain circumstances with her, but you should take this into consideration.
I don't care.
Okay, but seriously, I just like how energized she is and how she helps the Turtles on their adventures sometimes when fighting bad guys. She didn't need to be kidnapped a few times before finally getting it together and seeking some combat training. She was just ready to go. The Turtles are all just pure fun. They have that general brotherly bond that we've come to know from them. They act so crazy and insane and just has me smiling whenever they're on screen. The only gripe there is to have is Master Splinter. While I can find him funny sometimes, his laziness can feel like a betrayal to how the character is supposed to be. But honestly, that's just a minor nitpick to me. Everything else works so well in this that you find yourself just sitting back and having a good time. Number 4. Craig of the Creek. This series I was excited to watch because I really enjoyed those nice slice of life series. This managed to do it in a very pleasant and unique way. You have these kids who hang out at a creek and make their own little society with different factions and everything. The kids act like actual kids. They get caught up in their imagination and make something mundane into something fun and exciting. It takes place in the modern day, but has such a timeless feel to it. Craig, Kelsey, and JP are so endearing. They make you feel a bit nostalgic, but in a natural way, rather than having you remember this popular thing you played with or watched as a kid.
It's like a tickly headache.
I'm training Mortimer to peck out the brains of my enemies.
I no longer feel comfortable with this.
You just get these unique situations that you can relate to and understand because as a kid, you may have faced similar problems. The colorful cast of characters fill the world and just adds to the enjoyability of the series as a whole. The show has yet to have a low moment because it knows what it wants to do without making anything complicated. It's a simple show in a time where we could use more simpleness.
You'll always have friends at the creek.
Number 3. Big City Greens. Speaking of simpleness, Big City Greens is just that, but it goes a long ways with just how charming the characters are. Cricket and his family are just the definition of wholesome.
Surprise!
Yeah! Bring it on, you old boot!
What's the matter with you, boy?
I don't know, lots of stuff, I guess.
Happy Thanksgiving, you turkeys.
Okay, semi-wholesome, but still, this family is just the right type of crazy and weird, and I absolutely love it for that. It has the same quirky and insane humor you'd expect from Gravity Falls, and that's simply because it's made by people who worked on Gravity Falls. They bring familiarity to the show while still giving you something new. It's another slice of life series, but you get wrapped up in how the characters play off each other and how they get themselves out of these situations. You just plain can't hate this series at all. These characters are also timeless and great and a pleasant surprise that you wouldn't expect to fall in love with, especially with a show whose characters don't have noses, but I digress. It's still fun, you're still gonna love these characters, you're just gonna absolutely admire how good and fun and wholesome this show is.
I guess it made a good impression.
Number 2. Hilda. Talk about whimsical and innocent. This series was something I almost missed because I didn't know too much about it. Thankfully, I didn't and got to experience such a great series. It's filled to the brim with lore and whimsy that you just have to love it. It fires on all cylinders and works all throughout. The animation is to die for. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can feel all the effort they put into the backgrounds. They can have such tranquil moments. Character. She's just plain innocent, and it's great to see how she adapts to living a normal life. Her relationship with her mother Joanna is done so well, and yes, I know her actual name now. Oops. The supporting characters are just as great. David and Frida are a great means for Hilda to connect to the normal world, and even a good means to connect with the mythical world to the normal world. The reactions to some of the craziness are funny enough, but Hilda's reaction to the normal world are just gold.
Hilda, this is a troll drill. Follow the procedure.
Trust me, if a troll were here, this wouldn't help you at all. Who cares how much the apples cost? The real question is why one man needs to buy so many apples. Is he feeding some kind of apple monster?
Hilda, school's over.
This is one of Netflix's best animated series, and it proves that to a T. Now, before we get to the number 1, let's look at a few honorable mentions that were good but just not good enough to make the list. Still, probably something you should check out. Harvey Street Kids, a very nice and goofy show that changes up some semi-familiar characters and puts a nice spin on them for the modern age. Summer Camp Island, just a pure wacky series that is pretty out there but very charming with how crazy the world and characters are. Apple and Onion, a nice series with just a lot of charm to it, not too much extravagant about it. Well, except for the talking food part, but let's face it, we've seen weirder. The Shivering Truth. Okay, this one is just plain insanity. You definitely gotta be willing to open your mind to some of the things that happen in it, but trust me, you will find some enjoyability in it if you can move past how nonsensical it can be. Now that that's all out of the way, here's the number 1 best animated show of 2018. Final Space.
Wondrous!
I'll be 100% honest, when I finished watching the first season of this show, I knew this was going to be my number 1 of the year. I kept watching series after series all throughout the year, and I just couldn't find anything that really could top it. Hilda came close, but Final Space, the more I thought about it, was great throughout all of it. This series managed to juggle a lot. You have action, you have drama, you have suspense, you even get romance. This is just the most perfectly balanced series of the year. The characters are just fantastic and you'll love all of them. Gary is a very eccentric character. You would think you would get angry at him, but you can't because he's just so damn likable. He's crazy in many ways, but he comes off as a genuinely great guy. He does make stupid decisions, but he's all about doing the right thing and fights as hard as he can to do so. His friendship with Avocado is something that you have to admire.
You're a good friend.
I would have gone with great, but whatever. I'll take good.
What is happening?
I think we're about to hug.
Should we?
The siren's call is beckoning us to embrace. We shan't ignore her.
Just kiss!
That is a major strong point of Gary, is his connections with everyone he comes in contact with, like Mooncake, Quinn, Hugh, and you can't forget how he treats Kevin.
Kevin, fix the ship. Also, don't touch any of my stuff, or Quinn's stuff, or avocados, or the cookies. Just don't touch anything. Specifically buttons, and especially flamethrowers. But do fix the ship, and then die, okay? Okay.
When the show needs to get into more serious subject matter, it works perfectly. You don't feel like it just doesn't fit when they change pace. It feels like a natural transition. Most shows can't usually pull that off, but this show has it down pat. I'm always on board with when the show needs to throw a curveball, and boy does it like to do that. The series wraps you in with its great sense of ambiance too. The major thing that plays into that ambiance is the animation. The team that made it were definitely working overtime. When they want you to feel the cold emptiness of space and a sense of hopelessness, you feel it. When they want you to be engulfed by new worlds Gary and his crew travel to, you're going to be engulfed. This show pushes itself as hard as it can to be great and pulls it off perfectly. You can just feel the blood, sweat, and tears that went into this series, and that to me is exactly why this is my #1 best animated series of 2018. But that's just a thought.